Over 200 time travel movies have been made in the last decade alone. That's a staggering number, and it just goes to show how fascinated we are with the concept of messing with the timeline. Time travel is a staple of science fiction, and it's no surprise why. The idea of being able to go back in time and change the course of history, or jump forward and see what the future holds, is a tantalizing one that has captured the imaginations of audiences for decades. But let's be real. Time travel in movies is often more fantasy than fact. I mean, who hasn't seen a film where someone goes back in time and changes something, only to return to the present and find that everything is suddenly different? It's a convenient plot device, but it's not exactly how time travel would work if it were possible. In reality, the butterfly effect would be much more complicated than that, and even small changes could have massive unintended consequences. And then there's the whole time loop thing, where someone keeps reliving the same day over and over again. I mean, I get why it's a fun plot device, but in reality, it's just not how time works. Time is a linear concept, and we can't just keep reliving the same moments over and over again. Another myth that gets perpetuated in movies is the idea that time travel requires some kind of fancy technology, like a DeLorean or a fancy watch. In reality, if time travel were possible, it would require an incredible amount of energy, far beyond what we can currently harness with our technology. And even then, it's not like you could just hop in a car and drive back to the Middle Ages. And let's not forget about the time police, those nebulous authorities who are tasked with protecting the timeline from rogue time travelers. I mean, come on, it's a fun concept, but in reality, there's no one overseeing time travel to make sure everyone behaves. If time travel were possible, it would be chaos, not some carefully regulated industry. Wormholes are a staple of many time travel theories, and they're often depicted in movies as these swirly, colorful portals that you can just jump through to get from one point in space-time to another. But in reality, wormholes are much more complicated than that. They're theoretical tunnels through space-time that would require an incredible amount of negative energy to stabilize, and even then, they'd be incredibly unstable. Time dilation, on the other hand, is a real phenomenon that's been observed in the natural world. It's the idea that time can slow down or speed up, depending on your frame of reference, and it's been proven through experiments with atomic clocks and high-speed particles. But in movies, it's often depicted as this weird, fantastical thing that happens when you travel at high speeds. One of my favorite time travel myths is the idea that you could go back in time and meet your younger self. I mean, it's a fun concept, but in reality, it's just not possible. According to the Novikov self-consistency principle, if you went back in time and tried to meet your younger self, something would prevent it from happening in order to preserve the timeline. It's a mind-bending concept, but it's based in real science. So what's the key scientific insight that debunks a popular time travel myth? Well, it's actually pretty simple: the grandfather paradox. The idea that you could go back in time and kill your own grandfather before he had children, thereby preventing your own birth, is a classic thought experiment. But according to physics, it's just not possible. If you tried to kill your own grandfather, something would prevent it from happening in order to preserve the timeline. It's a mind-bending concept, but it's based in real science. In conclusion, time travel in movies is often more fiction than fact. While it's fun to imagine what it would be like to hop in a time machine and explore different eras, the reality of time travel is much more complicated than that. So, let's appreciate the science fiction for what it is, entertainment, and not confuse it with real science. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you've got thoughts on time travel, leave them in the comments below. And if you want to explore more science fiction topics, be sure to check out my video on the science of warp drive.